This is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, your place for all things Wisconsin sports. Now, your host, Trage.
How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back on this May 14th. Holy crap. It's the middle of May. It's hot. It's hot. That's all I got to say. It's hot. They're talking severe weather coming in on Thursday here. So hopefully that they said, it's lately with the weather, it's going to get nasty if it does. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? Like it's going to, but it might not, but it might not. So like, go in your basement, but you probably don't have to. It's just sometimes drives me nuts with the weather. But hey, better be safe than sorry, right? Better be safe than sorry. Glad to see it stay out here. So hopefully it stays out one more time. We could use a little rain, but not a lot. So hopefully we're in that area. Hey, I hope everybody is enjoying their night already here and is ready for 2 hours of Wisconsin Sports on the Go talk with Trage here. So tonight we're going to hit the ground running. I figured, what the heck? Usually we start the show with what's grinding my gears off the weekend. We'll hit that in a little bit here. I want to get right away into Ummer here. He's going to join us tonight. We're going to talk Packers because there has been a lot of, and not the schedule release. I know you guys know I'm pre-recorded, so like we don't have the schedule release yet. We know 2 games, right? They're going to play the Eagles week 10, and we know they're going to play the Bears December 20th. So we know those 2 games. After that, we really don't know. We know the opponents. We don't know when they're going to play them. So we're going to wait with that. We'll talk about that next week, so make sure you're tuning in next week. But I got Ummer here tonight. I want to talk about some of the other, I would say more of the disgruntled stuff around the Packers. So first off, before I ask the first question here, Ummer, how are we doing tonight? How are we doing on this Wednesday? We're back. It's a great Wednesday.
Man, happy hump day, man. It's been great, man. I can't complain. Mother's Day went off without a hitch. Wife is pretty happy. Kids had fun. And I'm just really like trying to digest all the things that have been coming through the Packers sphere when it comes to coaching, when it comes to the pressers, as well as maybe a little bit of drama at 1265, a little bit more than we're used to. And kind of feeling out what we're thinking when it comes to things that are happening, as Jason Wilde said, that are non-quarterback driven controversy, and maybe things that normally don't come out in the public when it comes to 1265, the front office and our players. And we're seeing a little bit more of that coming to light with certain players not showing up for workouts, certain players making comments about position status and rankings, as well as like abilities to get touches. Because we all know that the NFL is very much a process-driven and a performance-based business. So everybody wants to make sure that they're getting their snaps. We just saw that Sean Ryan missed his $2 million bonus based on 2 snaps over 3 years that he missed. He needed 2 more snaps. And so I know that a lot of these players, they really bank on getting their touches, getting their snaps. And, when you have an influx of younger talent coming in, there could be an impact on that.
Yeah, and let's just start right there because you took the words right out of my mouth. And also, I hope everybody had a great Mother's Day. If you're a mother, if you're a husband and you have a wife, or whatever you got out there, hopefully your mom enjoyed the day. Hopefully your wife enjoyed the day, whatever it was. I spent way too much time outside. We did so much landscaping. I am sunburnt from head to toe, my back and my legs. I'm right now currently just like, I should have ice packs on them at this point. Like that's the way that they feel there. But you hit one on the head right off the bat that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So the Packers use 2 draft picks. They go and grab Savion Williams. They go and grab Matthew Golden, right? They got 2 good top. We don't know really much Savion, but Matthew Golden, fantastic wide receiver. Savion, going to be a kind of Swiss Army knife of the offense. So they grab these 2 guys. Well, Goody had to go and meet with Jaden Reed's agent and say, hey, just so you know, we're good, right? You're still our wide receiver. You're still our wide receiver one. Like, let's just, you're fine. So we have that. What is up? Like, this is the big question. What is up with this wide receiver core, first off? So in the offseason, you mentioned earlier, right? We have Josh Jacobs goes on, I can't remember what show it was there, but he mentions on basically Twitter and everywhere, it gets out there that he says, we need a wide receiver one. We need a bona fide guy. Okay. Packer fans are fine with that. And if you listen to him, he said, I'm not saying that the guys in the room are bad. Yeah. I'm just saying we need a guy. We need the guy. Nobody stepped up to be the guy. We need a guy. Josh Jacobs wasn't wrong. We need a guy. And if nobody was going to step up and be that guy, which we saw, well, Then the Packers had to make a move. So we have that situation. So Wicks gets upset with that. So did Reed. They both got upset with that, right? Dobbs last season gets upset with the lack of attention. You're not getting the ball enough, not getting enough targets. Okay, now there is a whole, other things going on with that. We hope that Dobbs is okay with everything that's been going on. Either way.
Right.
Now we have Reed getting upset that the Packers go and draft Golden and Williams.
Right.
I don't get it. And this is why I'm going to say I don't get it, right? Because out of all the quarterbacks the Packers have had, well, I shouldn't say that. Oh, Brett Favre throwing the ball around. He didn't know who he was throwing it to half the time. Rodgers picked a favorite, and that's where he threw the football. And he wouldn't throw it to you if he didn't trust you. Christian Watson, first pass of the season against the Vikings, threw it to him. He dropped it. He didn't get the ball after that. That was Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love's the exact opposite. Jordan Love will throw the ball to everybody at any time, any place, doesn't matter. We had Fitzpatrick or that random tight end that showed up. We had him getting targets out there. He doesn't care who you are. If you're open, he's throwing you the football.
Right.
It's not a whole trust thing. He trusts all his wide receivers.
Right.
So this whole mess, I don't get it. Why, if you're Jaden Reed, you just watched you just watched your team last season go to Philly and you fell short again. You fell short in San Fran. Why would you not want more weapons?
Yeah.
Why would you not want Matthew Golden? You can't, if you look at it realistically, and I know Christian Watson's dad would tell you that Christian Watson is the greatest thing alive and that everything in between, because if people haven't seen him on Twitter, he is wild over there. I just saw yesterday, he told Grant Bills, shout out to Grant Bills. He told Grant Bills that he shoots his show from the basement of his parents' house and that he has no right to say what he's saying, basically, blah, blah. And Grant did kind of Grant told him maybe you should think about what you say, put the phone down, take a walk instead of talking on social media. It was a whole thing. It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, Grant knows
Grant
stuff
Bills is a producer of Bill Michaels' show. Like, this isn't a guy who just sits in the basement and just tunes out all day long. This is a guy who works with Bill Michaels, one of the most successful Wisconsin radio shows out there. So either way, way off topic with that one. But I just want to say, I'm with you, Grant. I'm with you. This guy's wilding out there. But this wide receiver core, man, like you were saying, I don't think anybody should be safe. No. Because these are a bunch of and I want to say this as lightly as possible. They're head cases. That's what they are. I mean, you don't know. They get upset if they don't get the ball enough. And shouldn't that be a good thing? If you don't get the ball, it means you're covered, which means you're respectable, right? Now find a way to get yourself open. If you can't, then either go talk to Matt LaFleur and say, hey, you got to find a way to get me open. Or talk to your other receivers and say, hey, guys, you got to run me open. Something. Do your job better. But we just hear complaining. We just hear sitting out. We just hear, well, I got to send Goody to their house to say, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. You're going to be fine. What is up? Like grow up. That's where I'm at. Okay, I want to hear what you got to say about this whole thing. But this is what I got to say. All this talk about a young team that everybody says, I'm over it. I'm over this young team crap. All right? There's no more. This is the youngest team in football. They have had two plus seasons now of playing football. Grow up. They need to grow up over this summer, and they need to grow up as a team and play ball. That's it. Shut up and play ball. That's enough. It is enough of the bull crap, enough of the petty crap. This is what we wanted to avoid. This is why we listen to Matt LaFleur say we avoid players like this. We listen to Goody say we avoid players like this. We don't want the petty bull crapping inside of 1265. Guess what? You have it. Deal with it or get rid of it. And I agree with you. Nobody should be safe in there because guess what? At the end of the day, I don't care. You want to build this football team up. You want to build it as a young team. Guess what? You can't have this crap in the room because this crap spreads and it spreads like wildfire. And one guy gets mad because he's not getting enough targets. The next guy gets mad. The next guy gets mad. And then you have a whole locker room that's not getting the ball enough. And then you got to blow it up. So Ummer, to you now. I've been hot about this since I saw this. Ummer, to you now. I want to hear what you got to say.
Trey, man, tell me how you really feel, man.
I started the show hot and heavy today.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. I think when it comes down to, you kind of want play. I feel like the word diva gets thrown out a lot, right? And what it comes down to it is there's maybe a thin line between diva and, a person that is a contender, a performer, right? And I feel like if you're not a player that wants to get the ball, then you're probably in the wrong profession. And I feel the rookie years for guys like Wicks, for Reed, they really kind of they set the bar really high. And so for them to come in their second year, which is normally a regression year for a lot of receivers, you saw that. And, there's a lot of drops, there's a lot of concentration drops because, as you said, the one thing with Jordan is that he goes back there and he's going to get the ball to the guy that's open, or he's going to throw him open to a certain degree. And he's going to get the ball and he's going to hit him in the hands, and it's up to them to catch it. And there's a lot of drops that we saw throughout the year last year with Jordan on a bad knee, with protection being kind of suspect, still delivering the ball pretty accurately. And unfortunately, a lot of passes. His completion percentage was down by maybe 6% just on drop passes alone. And so I do feel that in this room, I feel like Watson, minus his injuries and missing some time. I know his dad is, I think everyone that has a dad like Mr. Tazim, OG Tazim, you want that. You want a dad that supports you no matter what. In his defense, though, Watson did probably have one of his better years as a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. No.
Right?
Yeah, no. He has points sometimes.
Yeah,
just when he was going at Grant Bills, I was like,
that's a little,
okay.
That's him not knowing Bill's resume, right? And then, on top of that, too, him not knowing Grant's resume. And I know Grant, I followed him on Twitter for a while, so I kind of seen his work. So I know he's not he's not some bum, right?
Yeah.
And Tazim is, former player, has his own podcast. He's doing his own thing with his other son, Trey. And, he's a pretty intelligent dude. And I just think, he definitely shoots from the hip when it comes to defending his family. So I respect it. Maybe gets a little bit in that area of okay, you're a little too far, but I get it. I do agree with you, though. Last year, if you notice the way the coaching staff talked this year, they added talent in the receiver room, knowing that maybe A, they know guys are going to be leaving, B, that their performance last year wasn't up to snuff, right? And then we're wondering, hey, where's the pass rushers? Where's the guys that help, kind of help dictate on defense to where we're not being so passive aggressive, right? And what happened was the coaching staff talked about how basically Jeff was talking about how Halfley felt that the coaching is what was off, not the talent. So you see when it comes to receivers, maybe because the fact that they didn't perform well and we're not seeing a lot of things that maybe are going on in the locker room, that they're like, hey, maybe we need some new talent in here. Maybe we need some guys in here who aren't only going to be valuable from when it comes to an iron sharpens iron kind of thing, but they're also going to perform and maybe push these other guys. Because I do feel like a great example of this is Jordan Love getting drafted in 2020. We saw Rodgers have a little bit of a decent year, 2019 year, but when he saw that quarterback, what did it do? It woke him up, got him having back-to-back MVP seasons, 2 seasons where we basically had Super Bowl teams that just didn't, cross the finish line. And I truly believe Golden and Savion, especially Golden. I feel like Golden's the kind of talent. If you listen to some of the beat writers, just on height, weight, speed alone, he's looking like Greg Jennings. And let's be real, Greg Jennings, his career in Green Bay was pretty freaking good. He probably could have been a Hall of Famer in Green Bay if he never left. Yeah. I mean, truly, his numbers, he was killing it at Favre, he was killing it at Rodgers. And so, yeah, I definitely think that maybe these guys are feeling the heat a little bit. And Dontavian Wicks is a great example of hey, you get open all day, but if you can't catch the ball, then your whole purpose as a receiver, half of the reason why your receiver is gone, right? Yep. And if Jaden Reed needed some reassurances because of the new talent coming in, I feel if you read through maybe a little bit of breadcrumbs and maybe just a little bit of between the lines, it kind of felt like that basically there is maybe the agents was reaching out to Gutekunst, and Gutekunst was doing his due diligence, not like Jaden Reed was complaining, if that makes sense. Yeah. More so it's hey, I know we got these guys in here, but you're still our WR1, which is fine. But you know what happens in training camp and in preseason and those first couple of weeks of the season, you start seeing that depth chart move around a lot, right? And you start to see where your guy who used to be WR1, he might become WR2 because someone like Golden's going to step or Savion steps up. Or maybe they're always saying Watson's running. Who knows? What if he's back week 1? I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. Adrian Peterson did it in 5 months, right? So crazier things have happened. I get you, though. I have to admit that part of me does feel hey, your job is as a receiver is to catch the ball and make plays, and the quarterback makes you look good and you make the quarterback look good. If you guys are complaining about what is going on based on the team, that you need to be the one to dictate that not by complaining, by showing it on the field. Because if you're kicking butt on the field, you're doing your thing. You are pushing the envelope and saying hey, this is my team. This is my position. I'm the receiver. I'm WR1, whatever you want to say. Like you want to say, like, the guy in Captain Phillips, hey, I'm the captain now. Right. Like you want to be that guy, right? Hey, then you got to show it. You got to put up or shut up.
I think the thing with it is that bothers me is I talk about confidence with this wide receiver core.
Yes.
They lack it because
Yeah.
this is the plain and simple. And you said it perfectly. If you're confident in yourself, if you are Jaden Reed and you're confident in your skills, Goody doesn't have to go to your house. He don't. You just walk into training camp and you're like, I'm still that guy. I'm still the guy here until you come in and take my spot. Until you prove to these coaches that you are better than me, I'm still that guy.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But that's what bothers me. That's what bothers me.
The Dobbs thing rubbed me the wrong way. I'll be honest. I understand. I'm all about mental health. I'm all about people looking out for mental health. But I have to admit, just because if you hear what being said, like he wasn't about the game plan, so he kind of took his ball and went home and didn't talk to anybody. And then Gutekunst had to literally come to your house and tell you, hey, man, what's going on? It just rubbed me the wrong way. But
when your GM has to go out of his way to go to your houses to tell you guys, it's okay. It's all right. You're still going to be involved. We're still going to play with you. We're still going to let you play with the toys. That's a problem. That's the problem with the Packers is they can't focus on getting better as a team. We have to focus on getting this guy targets. We have to focus on this guy. We have to focus on this guy. They can't get better as one because they're so worried about themselves.
I feel like that last year, I completely agree. Like the 2023 year, we noticed there was a very selfless perspective by the players. It wasn't just one person, right? Yep. It didn't matter who got the touchdowns and touches that game because guess what? You were winning games. You were playing well. And I think winning does cure a lot of things. And the fact that the Packers were so disjointed on offense in particular last year, I think that also played into some of the frustrations. Okay, I'm not getting the ball fine as long as we're winning, but now we're losing by 2, we're losing by 5, we're losing by 3. So, well, then what the hell? Then maybe if I got the ball more often, we wouldn't be losing. And it's like, you get what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's like, all right, well then everyone needs to do their part. I'm sorry, when it comes to NFL, it is the pure definition of a team sport. Right.
Yep. And that's the thing. Yep. I agree 100%. And that's, it rubs me with all these guys the wrong way because it doesn't show confidence. It doesn't show confidence in my skills. Like you said, it's guys who want reassurance and they're worried. If you think that you're that dog, if you think that you can be the guy, you shouldn't be worried. You should be like, I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to beat out Savion Williams because guess what? He's got bad hands. I got better hands.
Right.
You should have faith in yourself. Dontavian Wicks should have faith in himself. So should a guy like Jaden Reed. So should a guy like Romeo Doubs. But they don't. Yeah. That's what rubs me the wrong way. And that's why we have this drop problem. Mm-hmm. It's a confidence issue. It's a focus. It's a lack of focus, preparation, all those things. Bill Belichick always said it. It's not about what happens on Sunday. It's about what happens on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's what matters.
100%.
Those are the times that matter. And yet we sit here and we harp on the Sunday, and it's like, what are they doing on those days? Well, from what we've seen, complaining more than they're doing anything else. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, get some confidence. Find that little confidence in there, and that's where you got to have leaders step up in that locker room, like Jordan Love, and say, all right, guys, this is what it is. This is how it is. You want to be a part of this? The same with Matt LaFleur. This is where I want him to have a Dan Campbell side of him. Walk into that locker room and say, who's with it? Mm-hmm. Right? Who's with it? Who wants to be a part of the program? If you don't want to be a part of the program, well, the bus will let you off at the next stop. See you later. We can let you go. Right? We got more than enough wide receivers now. We can let you go. You don't want to be a part of this? You're going to complain about touches, whatever it is. See ya. You don't want to have to deal with that at this point. You want to be building up towards something.
Correct.
This offense, and I want to talk about this when we come back here from the break. We got to hit a quick break. We'll come back. This offense, I really believe, could be a top in the division and could be a top in the NFC. I really believe
easily
with the weapons they have.
Yes.
But will they get out of their own way?
That's
They get out of their own way. That's what I want to talk about when we come back here. So make sure if you have your own opinion on that, I want to hear what you got to say. 715-990-4914. Hit us up. We want to hear what you got to say about that whole thing. What do you think the Packers offense is going to look like? And can they be one of the top in the division / NFC? We're going to talk about that when we come back here from the break. Umber's going to be back. We're going to talk a little more Packers here on the backside here. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment, with Ummer here is brought to you by a special sponsor of the show here, Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. Their expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations. Just call Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. If you were injured, whatever it was, maybe you were playing men's league softball, you had too much to drink, you tore something. I don't know what happened. Maybe you're out golfing. There's bad things happen, right, on the golf course. See Chad down there at Sport and Spine. He'll get you right, and he'll get you back to doing whatever you're doing, feeling better than ever. So we went to the break, and I asked the question because I said, with all this drama, right, with all this drama, and there's drama with Elton Jenkins right now because he wants more money if they're going to move him over to center. He wants to be set up for his next contract because technically going to center does affect his contracts of the future. So he wants more money. We have the wide receiver issues. We just got issues, right? Sean Ryan's probably upset because he missed out on $2 million because he missed 2 plays. It's a lot of drama, right, that we're hearing about. This Packers offense, I feel, with the weapons they have coming back, Jordan Love healthy, with scrambling ability, right? He's got to have scrambling ability with the weapons they have, with Matt LaFleur at head coach, with an offensive line that only got better. I know people are like, oh, it could not. It got better. Trust me. If you move Elton Jenkins to center over Josh Myers and you still have the rest of the cast characters, you got better. Plus, the depth got better. So I feel like this offense got way better. You got a great play caller, Matt LaFleur, who's going to be able to utilize those weapons now. And, fingers crossed, knock on wood, they stay healthy. I feel like this offense is primed to be tops in the division and near the top in the NFC. I really do. With Jordan Love at quarterback, with the weapons they have, and I forgot to mention the man in the backfield, Josh Jacobs. I forgot about him. I can't believe it. I forgot about him. I got to be honest, though. If I'm going to say it's going to hinge on 2 things. One, it's going to be the Packers getting out of their own way, right? I think it's going to be the Packers getting out of their own way. Maybe 3 things. Okay, I'll give you 3 things. It's going to be the Packers getting out of their own way. What do I mean by that? The wide receivers getting over themselves and just playing ball. That's going to be number 1. It's going to be the line, the offensive line, everybody included. The pre-snap penalties have got to be cut. They've got to be cut down because pre-snap penalties have killed this team. All that crap has got to just wash away. It's not going to go away. I know pre-snap penalties are still going to happen, right? You can't just get rid of them. But at the alarming rate that they're happening, this Green Bay Packer team, especially in crucial moments, that's where it worries you. The red zone offense has definitely got to get better. So I'm kind of leaning in there. And the red zone offense for me and the big plays, Matt LaFleur. I think this offense taking off is going to be on 3 things. Packers getting out of the way of themselves, Matt LaFleur, not being so conservative at times, just be you, right? Yeah. 2 years ago, 2023, I can't tell you how many plays I watched where you would see a random wide receiver, Tucker Kraft, just wide open down the sideline by himself because the play went the other way and they confused the ever-living crap out of that defense and Tucker Kraft's wide open or Jaden Reed's wide open or Romeo. It was everybody. It was everybody getting involved in it. It was wild. And I'm not saying he didn't coach good last year, right? Malik Willis looked like a star underneath the Matt LaFleur. So I'm not saying he didn't coach good. I'm just saying Matt LaFleur has got to be his best, right? Show me your best. And then it comes down to Jordan Love. Because we talked about this, I feel like last week or 2 weeks ago. He has left a lot to be desired. He has left a lot of bites on that apple where it's like, it's either where is he, right? Right now he's kind of stagnant in the middle. He's a good quarterback, right? Sometimes flirting with great, but a good quarterback. Can he be a great quarterback? Right. Can he be the X factor? Can he be the guy that takes the Packers over the top? It's going to be a collective effort. Yep. You're going to need the offensive line to play well, keep them up, right? Josh Jacobs to play well, and the wide receiver core to step up and be them guys, right? And Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. Those guys being great in the tight end room. But you need Jordan Love to be the best Jordan Love that you've seen so far to progress to that next level. So, Umar, right now, everything that I'm saying, this Packers team, does this offense really have that shot to be one of the best in the division, if not the best in the division? Because we see the rest of these teams kind of dismantling on the offensive side. This offense, to me, they could be one of the best in the division. They could be one of the best in the NFC. What are you thinking right now?
I think that last year for them to be as disjointed as they were, to get into a 7th seed, and for them to, minus, Saquon sliding on that one run, but for the most part, keeping up with the Philadelphia Eagles up until that very end, that was with 4 of the receivers down, 2 offensive linemen down. I think that if their offense can take the next step, yeah, they are not only one of the best teams in the NFC North, they're probably one of the best teams in the NFC because people want to keep talking about our division, which is always a good division for the most part. You have a lot of question marks in Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy and that offense. Now, yeah, they got great weapons, but the quarterback kind of runs that thing, so you don't know which way they're going to go. Of course, the defense took a lot of hits, but Flores is a great coordinator. I think again, the Bears make all these offseason moves, and they're like, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl every year. Like, they're the offseason, Super Bowl champs, basically. And they could probably improve upon their record, but I don't see them really going – I personally don't see them having a winning record this season. Detroit has a lot of changes on their offensive and defensive schemes, so who knows what they're going to do there. So I really do believe, like, there has to be consistency across the board. I think you said it best when Packers were literally getting in their own way. False starts, all these different holding penalties. You have drop passes, you have injuries, you have inconsistent play at the center and also offensive line. The only person that was probably the most consistent on offense was Josh Jacobs. I mean, hands down, Josh Jacobs was pretty relentless with the way he ran the ball, caught the ball, blocked all 9 yards. I mean, Tucker Kraft had more good than bad, but even he had a couple of drops. It just seems like we just didn't see a consistent week in and week out play on offense like we did on defense, like we did on special teams. I think there's some things that you mentioned when it came to our offensive line because we have some changes, right? We've added some new talent in Belton. We've added some, with also having hopefully Jordan Morgan back this year. And then, of course, you have Elton going into center. And honestly, like, he's not at the workouts. He's holding out for a better contract because he will be turning 31 at the end of this year. His contract on average, I think, is like $16 million, and it's way below market value for a guard or a center. And if I'm him, I do believe that if anyone's going to get a third contract, it should be Elton Jenkins, primarily because of the fact that that guy can play anywhere on the offensive line. You can plug him in on any single position, and he will excel there. He is better at some than others, but he's pretty much above average across the board. And having a Swiss Army knife like him and Zach Tom on our starting offensive line, you can't beat that. I mean, we're just being real. And I agree with you. I just think that the Packers have everything that's right in front of them. And if we're honest with ourselves, in that 2023 season, we literally were a field goal away from going to an NFC Championship game. And we had just beat Detroit in Detroit on Thanksgiving. And I'm kind of happy that, it sucks that what happened, but then, that was the demise of Joe Barry as our defensive coordinator. So I'm all for that. But if we're being real, could have went to Detroit in an NFC Championship game, and who knows what would have happened. I mean, could you imagine if Jordan Love would have been a quarterback who first year starting had taken the Packers to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl in his first year and possibly playing the Chiefs? It's a lot of what ifs. Don't get me wrong, but again, why were we out of that game? Because again, we shot ourselves in the foot. We couldn't make a field goal. We had injuries, and on top of that too, we really made mistakes. We had interceptions. We just made some bad mistakes, and I just really want to see them just have a complete game. That's it. It feels like it's been so long since the Packers have a complete game on all three phases: offense, defense, and special teams.
God, you have to almost go back to 2023.
Yeah, because
Dallas probably. I don't even. You could say San Fran. Actually, I would say complete game San Fran, because outside of the last Jordan Love interception, that was a darn good San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah,
like it's different than the one they got. That was a darn good team, defensively, offensively, and the Packers were right there. I mean, they had a drive at the end to win it.
Yes, that was the missed field goal.
Without the missed field goal from what's his name?
Anders Carlson.
Anders Carlson, right? Without that missed field goal in that game, that's a whole different ball game because now the 49ers have to score. They have to. It changes the entire complexity of the game. So I mean, yes 100%. I would say probably San Fran was the last honest, complete game that was like, this is a darn good looking team. They had moments last season there. I'm not saying they didn't, but I just never felt after the San Fran game 2 years ago. Yep. I never felt the same of the Packers.
I agree.
Last season. I never felt the same. The Elton Jenkins thing, it's basically like you were talking, but longevity, right? He wants to know that you're going to sign him long-term because he knows that he's taking a cut to go over there. So
100%.
Give him that long-term deal. Let him know, hey, we love you, buddy. It's okay. Back end the deal like the Packers love to do and then release him for whatever, right? Get the dead cap in. That's fine. Like, that's the way the Packers love to roll contracts. So I'm guessing that's the way it'll work out. They're going to get something worked out. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I absolutely hate guys holding out. It always drives me nuts because it's like, it absolutely irritates me because you make millions of dollars and you hold out because you want more. It's like, I would take $5 million and you could run me over at center all day long, and that'd be cool. I just fake an injury and go out. Like, it's just sometimes these guys, it's like, I get what you're doing.
Yeah, market value.
At the same time, I'm like, man, there's guys who would give way less. They give way less, and they would play that spot for you right now. So I don't know. Sometimes it just like irritates me. Major League Baseball does the same thing when the players union gets together and they want to sit out a game. It just drives me nuts. Just anyways, I want to get out with the Packer talk here. Umber's got to get out of here. He's got a lot of things to do tonight. So we got to get out of here. But we saw the coordinators talk.
Yes.
I mean, what were some of the quick, we're going to talk more about the coordinators in a little bit here on the show, but what were some of the quick hitters you got out of there? We listened to Bisaccia talk. We listened to Stanovich talk. We listened to Jeff Hafley talk. What were some of the quick hitters you got? You're like, I like what he had to say here, or maybe I didn't really agree with what this guy had to say, and it kind of made me concerned. Is there anything that you got, some quick tidbits you got off of those press conferences?
I think it's nothing more than what a lot of people heard. I think Rich Bisaccia being accountable for the fact that he failed LaFleur in multiple games last year.
He did. Multiple years. Not multiple games, multiple years.
Right? And so you're the assistant head coach. You need to be able to guide him in certain directions when it comes to the time that's left, when it comes to game situations. Keyshawn Nixon probably going to still be on kick returns. He said a lot of people were pissed off after the game. So a lot of emotions are running high. So people are saying a lot of crazy things. But we do have a lot of talent that can play the different special team positions when it comes to returns. Jeff Hafley, for as great as his defense did last year, he has a lot of respect and appreciation for Covington, the new defensive coordinator that came from New England. He said that guy has played in so many different types of defensive schemes that he's expecting a big jump from our defensive line and our pass rushers. He also thinks that he could have done better as a coach and that he failed at certain points, and he wants to improve on that, which is a pretty good thing to say that considering the fact that he had a top 10 defense last year. Stanovich, offensively, he knew that there's a lot of things that are going on with Jordan Love that kind of impacted the way they called some of their offense. With the insurgence of talent with Golden, he goes, Golden looks pretty fast. Savion looks like a guy that he's going to have a lot of fun with, trying to scheme things up, as well as knowing that Elton Jenkins is open to playing center. And just honestly, as a whole, they all had not only positive things to say, but they also seem to have a lot of self-evaluation, self-scout, and being very accountable for things they came short up on. And I feel like as a coach and as a player, you have to know where you did good, and you also know where you did bad, because if you can't get better unless you kind of get an understanding of where you can improve. Yeah.
No, I would agree. There was a lot of quick hitters. I had one question for you off of the ones that, I guess what I saw there. I loved what Hafley had to say.
Yeah.
In all of his press conferences. And, him saying that he wanted to know, like, he thought he had to be better, holding accountability on himself. I love to hear that, saying that his defense had to be better. And that's why they got rid of the old defensive line coach there. Yes. I love that. I absolutely love that, because he's holding accountability for himself. Something that absolutely drives me nuts with Matt LaFleur. Yeah. Is that sometimes I don't think he's accountable. I don't think he wants to hold himself accountable. He doesn't say it. He doesn't tell me, like, I sucked. Like, I suck. That's what I want out of coaches sometimes. I just want to hear them come onto a stage and say, I sucked. I sucked. This is what I got to do to be better, right? I put my guys in this bad spot. I didn't do this right, everything like that. And that's what Hafley did. He basically said, like, I trust the guys in the room, the pass rushers, everything like that. I trust these guys. I know they have it. It's just, can I get the right guy in the room to make them better? And I did a bad job by putting this other guy there. Now I got Covington. I feel great. So I kind of liked what Hafley had to say in his presser there, and talking about, can the strong finish they had, can that carry over? Hafley putting up great numbers. I mean, what did you think about what Jeff Hafley had to say in that kind of press conference? Well,
it's funny what you said about LaFleur. I felt like it's the opposite of LaFleur. I feel like he takes too much accountability. I feel
he does, but he does it the right way, because he has the same darn thing every time. Every time, and it's like, dude, fix it. Like, he's like, that's on me. And I'm like, all right, dog, that's great. I appreciate that, but I need you now to make a decision as to why that is the way it is, and make sure it doesn't keep happening week in and week out. Because, like you said,
as a coach, if you keep making the same mistake over and over again when it comes to game in decisions, when it comes to challenging plays, when it comes to short and distance, and then going doing certain things and doing like sweep runarounds and stuff like that, I'm with you. So, but Hafley is the kind of coordinator from the day he was hired till today. I could re-listen to his press conferences over and over and over and never get sick of it. Just the way he talks, the way he motivates. It's scary to think that he'd probably be out of here in a year as a head coach somewhere, because that's just the way he just has that demeanor. And I was very much like, why are we hiring this dude out of Boston College? Like, who the heck is he, right? And I listened to all his interviews at Boston College. I listened to all his stuff when he first came in, and I just been completely enamored by him. He just, the way he speaks is just a breath of fresh air. And it's a guy who's not only knowledgeable, but he doesn't try to fit a square peg in a round hole when it comes to like, okay, this is my scheme, you need to learn it. No, this is my scheme, and we're going to find a way not only for you to adapt to my scheme, but me to adapt to you. And then try to get the best out of both of us. I mean, that's how you build winning, successful teams, because you got to have a little give and take. And sometimes these coaches come in and they're like, it's my way or the highway, and that can only get you so far.
No, if I was Goody, I'd take him into closed doors and I'd be like, hey, just so you know,
I'll keep paying you to stay.
If Matt LaFleur don't cut it in a couple years here, job's yours, man. Job's yours. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I'll give you extra money. Just stick around, just in case it goes south. We got you. You're gonna be our guy. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. He is a smooth talking son. Sometimes though, I listen to Bill Michaels' show, and he'll play the press conferences on the radio and everything like that. And I'm listening to it, and it's like, am I listening to Matt LaFleur? Am I listening to Jeff Hafley? Like, they're similar. They're very similar in voice, demeanor, everything that they're saying. And even like Hafley now, like, he wasn't as much of a joker the last season. Right. He's joking around with the media, telling him he's got a sweatshirt for him to start. Like, he's settling in, and I think that is the best thing. Because once he settles in, I think the scheming becomes easier then too, right? Yeah. Because he's starting to think about changing up, right? He's talking about running more 3-4 instead of 4-3. He's starting to change that up a little bit. He was talking about that Colin Oliver. And he said, he's going to play a little bit of what? I can't remember what spot he said there, but he's talking about, he's going to play this different spot and everything like that. And it's only used to a 3-4. And it's like, okay.
The fact that he's willing to make those adjustments, I feel like it's absolutely amazing. Nope.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love the adjustments Hafley's making. So Umber's got to get out of here. We got to hit a commercial break. So we will catch you guys after the commercial break. We're going to talk maybe a little more Packers. We got Brewer talk to get to. We got all kinds of stuff to hit tonight here. Kyle's going to join us and talk Bucks. So we'll be right back here after this quick commercial break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, if you missed that last segment with Umber there, we talked Packers right off the jump today here on the show. If you missed any part of the show, or you just want to check us out next day, you can. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Find us across all podcast platforms, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called out there. Make sure you are checking us out there. If you want to find us across social media, make sure you do it. Subscribe, follow, wherever you can see us out there. We love to post stuff, get up to date on everything Wisconsin sports. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. Any combo of Wisco Sports on the Go with Trage, Wisco Sports on the Go. You can find us across all social media platforms. You can also text into the show. You want to let us know what you're thinking. You want to get your comments in on the show here. You want to get questions answered. Make sure you're texting in there, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. You can also hit us up at our emails, wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. That is wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. If you have any, even sponsorships too. We always are taking on new sponsors every single week when we can, right? So if you have anybody out there, any businesses out there who want to get your name out there in the radio, make sure you're contacting us. Contact the station, get a hold of us here on the show. We'd love to talk with you about anything like that. So this next segment of the show here is brought to you by Foreman's Hardware. They offer you everything from home essentials to farm supplies, house to farm, grills to drills. Foreman's Hardware has got you covered. Visit today in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin. Tell them Trade sent you. Tell them I sent you down there. Get 5% off. Name something better. Right now, spring is here. We're planting. We're out in the yard. We're doing landscaping. You might need an extra tool. You might need some pavers, whatever it is. Stop in at Foreman's Hardware in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin. Tell them I sent you. Get 5% off. What a deal. What a deal there. Thanks to our friends over there at Foreman's Hardware. So we were talking Packers. I want to just talk a little bit more Packers here. So great stuff there from Ummer. We're talking about, what we've seen as of late. Here's some of the controversy going on with the Green Bay Packers. We listened to Jeff Hafley, and I kind of keyed in on his press conference that he had. So last season, the Packers, they made impressive strides in their first season with Jeff Hafley. Finished 6th in scoring defense, 19.9, and also finished 6th in total defense and 7th against the runs. They only lost really one guy, TJ Slayton, the only guy out the door, run stopper in his own right, but really only lost one guy. So the Packers believe they can be better on that side of the ball in 2025. So Hafley met with media on Monday there, and he was talking about some of these things. So the big thing he was asked, can the strong finish carry over? Allowing just 16 points per game in the final 4 regular season contests. In their playoff loss, they held Philadelphia to the fewest points that they had in the whole postseason. Impressive numbers. Hafley's optimistic about his unit there. He said probably the biggest thing is I thought we were playing really hard at the end of the year, like we were really physical. We were really running to the ball. Guys were playing confident. Guys were communicating. It just felt like it came alive, and that's probably the thing. Throw out the numbers, the statistics, and where we are. I think we played harder than our opponents at the end of the year, and we were more physical. That's what you love to hear, because there's one thing that a lot of people like to say about Matt LaFleur teams. Physicality is not there. They don't show that physicality. Well, Jeff Hafley, he has that feeling. He's like, we can get better at this. We can carry this over into this season. We can become more physical. And I thought they did. I was impressed by the physicality of this defense and the improvement of the defense throughout the year and what we saw. The numbers, the eye test versus the numbers were two different things, right? And it was because in crucial moments, the defense, it was like they were a bend but don't break at times. They would bend, but they wouldn't break. They give up big chunk plays. They give up a lot of yards, but they wouldn't break. And that's where you look at that Philadelphia game, they were set up in some bad situations right off the bat, right? They set up in a terrible situation right off the bat. But you look at the flip side of it, and you look at the first time the Packers saw Philly in Brazil, they were set up, the Packers offense was set up very good multiple times by the defense. Just the Packers offense couldn't capitalize. So I love what Hafley had to say there. He believes this defense can take that next step. So love that there. He also was talking about Nate Hobbs. He said he loves what Nate Hobbs can do. He's had a lot of success inside, and I thought his tape outside was equally as good. He is competitive. He's tough. He's physical. He plays the game fast. You can tell he loves it. He just jumps off the tape. He's been a great addition, and he just does give you that versatility where you can move him around. And again, I'm a big fan of that. That's huge, having the versatility of a guy like Nate Hobbs. Excuse me there. A guy like Nate Hobbs being able to work him inside and out. So I love that there from Hafley. Talking about the pass rush. So this was the big part that we wanted to key in on, was talking about that pass rush there. They were to say mediocre would be a nice way of putting it. They stunk in 2024. The pass rush was terrible. They didn't do much to address it in the draft. They grabbed Baron Sorrell in the 4th round and also grabbed Colin Oliver in the 5th. They call him they basically call him a pass rush specialist, Colin Oliver. So the Packers, they're looking at Rashawn Gary, they're looking at Lucas Van Ness, and they're saying, you guys are our main guys. So what Hafley had to say, I need to be better. Our coaches need to coach better. Our players need to play better. That's what he had to say on that there. We just don't want to stay the same. We want to be better. We lost in the playoffs. That wasn't good enough. We got to figure it out as we go, but I think we'll be able to do better. I'm confident there. So Jeff Hafley's showing the confidence in these guys. He's showing the confidence in Lucas Van Ness and some of these young guys to step up in that pass rush room. So we'll see what kind of transpires there. But Jeff Hafley seems to be speaking confident on those. He spoke on Edgerrin Cooper and what he's going to be able to do this next season. And the big thing that I took away from what he had to say about Edgerrin Cooper was, the injuries last season. He was banged up. We didn't get a full season out of Edgerrin Cooper. We got moments. And in those moments, he was spectacular. Now, put what he did, finished the season with 77 tackles, 13 for a loss, 3.5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 4 passes defended, an interception, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries in 14 games, 4 starts. Take what he was able to do, put it all together into a complete season. If you can do that, wow, right? Wow. And the big thing for Cooper and what Hafley had to say, he's taking a next step physically too. Went from 229, now he's up to 240. Hafley's expecting a big year too. We're hoping for a big year too. I'm looking at this and I'm saying I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Adrian Cooper can do for this Packers defense there. And then Hafley was asked about, Jair Alexander, and basically whatever on that one. We're not even going to talk about Jair Alexander because I'm so sick of hearing everything that has to do with Jair and everything in between. I'm going to wait until that thing is finished and either he's traded or he's not. Whatever happens, happens. And that's basically what Hafley said. We're going to find out. We're going to find out what happens. Either he's going to be here, he's not. He's not there, but he's part of the meeting. So we'll see what happens with Jair Alexander there. Listening to Bisaccia talk there, we talked a little bit about what Bisaccia had to say. He said that Keyshawn Nixon is still going to be in the mix for the kick return job. He said he didn't want it, but he's still going to be in the mix. Apparently, he must have had better talks than what we heard about there. So he wasn't really happy after the Eagles game. He wanted to just be at the cornerback position. We'll see what kind of happens there. He got Hardman in the room, so we'll see kind of what he decides there and if Nixon will want to be a part of that job there. I did, and I mentioned it earlier. And I looked it up at the break there. I did talk about with Ummer there. I was talking about Hafley hinting on that 3-4 base, right? Instead of that 4-3, he was going to switch over to that 3-4. Interesting, right? Kind of getting not really more advanced, but, being versatile in his defensive alignments. And that's something that Jeff Hafley kind of praised DeMarcus Covington for, was his ability to be versatile with his number of techniques and fronts. It was very interesting to Hafley, and he loved that about him, especially, working underneath the Bill Belichick. And and this is the phrase I was looking for before that I missed out on. I had it in my notes and I just missed it. They talked to him about, the rookie defender there, Colin Oliver, and he stated that Oliver could be an on-the-ball linebacker, a role that is seldom played in the 4-3. So switching to that 3-4, it's hinting at we might see a little bit of different there in the front, which could be that 3-4, which is interesting development there with this defense. So I love that. I love that, bringing in a new defensive line coach who's very versatile, a guy who, has been a part of different techniques, different fronts, trying different things. You bring him in. You also bring in some pass rush specialists, as they call him, in Colin Oliver. And then you're talking about a 3-4 base and being able to switch between that and a 4-3. I like the versatility that defense is going to be able to show. So a lot is going to go into that. A lot was made of the Packers transition to the 4-3 last year. Where are you kind of at with that? I like the versatility. I like the versatility, being able to throw something else in there. If the 4-3 is not working, you are at this point at the mercy of if your pass rush, if your guys are going to be able to step up and be the guys you think they can be. And if they're not, then you have to find other ways to get to the quarterback, right? You got to find ways to get to the quarterback. And if you can't do it through a 4-3, maybe you got to switch things up. And that is where having that versatility and having a guy like DeMarcus Covington come in as a defensive line coach, having Hafley so willing to try different things, I'm good with it. I really think it's good for the Packers to be more versatile on the defense, right? Try different schemes, see what works, see what doesn't, find different ways to get to the quarterback. They have to find ways to get to the quarterback. And if that takes switching up the whole front, it takes switching up the front. That's just plain and simple. You have to find ways to get to the quarterback. And if the 4-3 ain't doing it, the 4-3 ain't doing it. Plain and simple. You can't just go all buy players at this point because you just can't. So what are you going to do, right? So you have to adjust as a coaching staff. You have to adjust as defense coordinator. You have to adjust as defensive line coach, head coach, whatever it is. You have to adjust to try and make your guys' jobs easier there. One last question I had. I was asked this question across social media there. Where do you stand kind of on Quay Walker? Because they declined that option, or the option for that 5th year, and basically hinting at they're going to work on an extension. I'm good with the extension. I think Quay Walker, I was talking about Jordan Love leaving a lot to be desired. I don't want to compare Jordan Love to Quay Walker because I think Jordan Love has he's a boatload of upside, right? I don't want to say that Quay Walker doesn't have a boatload of upside, but Quay Walker is hit or miss at this point. Could he be a guy? I really do think he could be. I think he could be fantastic. Could it go the other way, though? I really think it could. I think we talked about the Packers team getting in their own way. I think Quay Walker gets in his own way. When he can just be off the ball, just himself, go play it in pass coverage, just work downhill, rush the quarterback, not have any real responsibility, like terribly, not green dot, right? I think he's better. I think he struggles getting off blocks at times. I see that. He's got a lot of issues. He's got a lot of problems. Looking at him, he's got a lot of potential. It's just will Halfley and this defense, will they be able to get it out of him? Will this coaching staff be able to get it out of him and find that potential and try to put it out there like Lucas Van Ness, basically, right? So if they have confidence in him, okay, let's see it. Let's see it now. So we got a lot more to get to tonight here. I want to talk Bucks here. We got Bucks tonight. We got a lot of Brewer talk to get to tonight here. So make sure you're coming back. We're going to come back here. We're going to wrap it up for this hour, and then we're going to hit the next hour of the show. We're going to talk Bucks. We're going to talk everything in between. So we'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment, well, not really much of a segment, right? We're just kind of wrapping up the hour, getting us into the next hour here. But this last portion of the hour is brought to you by a sponsor of the show here, and that is Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com. Make sure you're getting down to the track. All kinds of fun down there. Spring is here. Summer is going to be coming. Fall's right around the corner. There's going to be tons of racing all summer and fall long. So make sure you're getting down to the track there, Marshfield Motor Speedway. Check out the schedule at marshfieldspeedway.com. So went into the break. We've been talking Packers today because there's a lot that's been going on, a lot of stuff in the news, a lot of controversial talk, everything like that, and press conferences. Oh my goodness, right? We're getting close, right? Schedule release is happening today. It happened today, right? But you guys know I'm pre-recorded, so I can't talk about the schedule release because I don't know. I know they play Philadelphia. I know who they play, right? I know who they play at this point here. I just don't really know when, right? I know Philadelphia and I know the Bears. I know those 2 games. Outside of that, I know they play the Lions, Bears, Vikings, Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders, Panthers, and then they play Lions, Bears, Vikings, Cowboys, Giants, Browns, Steelers, Broncos, Cardinals. I know it's going to be a tough schedule. Anyway you shape it up for the Green Bay Packers this next season, it's going to be a tough schedule. I don't even have the schedule. I can't see the schedule, right? Because I'm telling you, I'm talking to you on a Tuesday. It's Wednesday. So I know that it's going to be a tough schedule. No matter how they shake it up. They could probably, hose them by giving them the Eagles and the Commanders, right? Or something crazy like that. They can hose them, definitely. But honestly, any way that you shake this, it could be a gauntlet. Bears could be good. Lions, yeah. Vikings, they're going to have a solid defense. I don't know about the offense with J.J. McCarthy, but we'll find out, right? They got playmakers. Bengals, juggernaut of an offense. You never know about the defense. Ravens, right? Darn good team. Cowboys, yeah, who knows? Giants, Browns, they could be up in the air. Steelers could be, that could be fun if Aaron Rodgers, right? That could be fun. Broncos, they're a good team again. Cardinals played solid last season there. Panthers could be getting better. This schedule for the Green Bay Packers, whatever way it's shaked out, is going to be tough. If the Packers come out of this as a wild card team, that's a darn good wild card team. I'd be ultimately impressed. If they won the division with this schedule, I'd be even more impressed. But if they got a wild card out of this, I would be okay. Like I'm not sitting here saying that a wild card next season is completely a bust of a season for the Packers, simply because I look at this schedule and I say Lions twice, Bears twice, Vikings twice, Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders. You're talking about some of the best teams in football right there with the Ravens, Eagles, and Commanders. You're talking about a Broncos team on the up and up. Talking about a Steelers team who's always consistent. Talking about a Browns team with who even knows, right? Who's going to be at quarterback there? You got 4 of them. Who's going to be at quarterback? Cardinals have been playing better. So this is going to be a very interesting year, interesting season, right? If you come out of this with an 11-7 record or whatever, and you end up as a playoff team, maybe with 6 losses, you end up as a wild card team in the playoffs, I think you take that as a win. You take it to the bank and you say, yes, sir. Nice. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're going to be talking about schedule release next week here on the show. So we'll be talking about that. We'll talk about a lot of other Packer stuff next week on the show. So, hey, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to talk. We got a whole another hour of the show here. So make sure you're coming back. We're going to talk Bucks yet. We're going to talk Brewers because I don't even know which one's better at this point here. So we're going to talk about both of them when we come back here. We got Kyle coming on to talk Bucks. We got a lot of Brewers talk. So make sure you are coming back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the second hour of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're back on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show here is brought to you by Foreman's Hardware. They offer you everything from home essentials to farm supplies. House to farm, grills to drills, Foreman's Hardware has got you covered. Visit today in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin there. Tell them Trage sent you, get 5% off. Tell them Trage sent you, get 5% off. On top of their already great deals, nothing better. Nothing better, especially with spring here, summer right around the corner, landscaping projects, everything. If you're like me and you spent Mother's Day weekend, you were helping out the wife, maybe you were out in the backyard getting sunburned beyond repair, you go to Foreman's Hardware. Get all your stuff, right? Treat yourself. Get all your stuff down there, birdseed, whatever you need. Get it at Foreman's Hardware there. Tell them I sent you. Get 5% off. So, we're talking Packers in the first hour of the show tonight here. Great Packer talk. Ummer was on. We were talking Packers. Now we got to get to the not so great that's going on in Wisconsin right now. And that is the Brewers. And, well, the Bucks, their season's over technically, right? But that was not so good to begin with. So we got Kyle coming on later. We're going to talk Bucks here. But I want to talk Brewers. But before we get there, we got to go to what was grinding my gears, right? Usually I start the show with it. Ummer was on early tonight here, so I wasn't able to get what was grinding my gears coming off the weekend. The number one thing was, and I know a lot of people have this, they have to have the same comment or whatever. So I got my car loan, right? And every time that I go to pay my car loan, I have to verify that it's me. Every time. Why do I have to verify that I'm paying my own loan off? If anybody out there would like to pay off my loan, you could be my guest. You can pay it. And I won't even tell them to have you verify that it's you. It's not me. It baffles me. It's like every time that you pay a bill, you have to verify that you're the one paying your own bill. Who's trying to steal your bill? Who's trying to pay your bill for you? It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Almost as bad as my next thing that's grinding my gears, and that is the DMV. I know a lot of people have terrible times at the DMV. Well, long story short, so I sold a truck to a guy, and there was a whole mess with it, and they needed the title and everything like that. Well, it had to be released from the bank, basically. And the bank released it in July of 2023. The DMV that this guy went to told him that the bank hadn't done it yet. And then I called big dogs down there in Madison, and they're like, no, it was released in July of 2023. And I'm like, what is going on? And this is after you sit on hold and you have, they give you the options of what you're calling for, right? You know, because you always get your options, 1, 2, or 3. And it's like, oh, you're calling to have your title, you're calling for this, whatever. So you click 2. And then after it gives you the options, you get more options on top of the options. And then you get more options on top of the options. And then you get sent to a person. And then when they finally answered, so after 15 minutes, they finally answer. Then after I talked to him, he says, oh, well, I'm going to send you to an advanced person, right? And I gave him the VIN number of the vehicle, everything like that, right? And he's like, oh, I'll give you to an advanced person because I'm showing that it's in here, but this advanced person will be able to help you. Oh, okay. So they send you to the advanced person. Well, then the advanced person comes on and they're like, well, I'm going to need the VIN number of this vehicle and everything like that. And who are you and everything? Didn't this guy who just sent you over, didn't he tell you who I was? Didn't he send you my information? Why do I have to re-give it to you? Oh, the DMV, man. Oh, drives me bonkers. So, yeah, the DMV is grinding my gears. Between the DMV and me having to authorize this, me doing any kind of bill paying is just ridiculous in my own way. It's just ridiculous. So those two things are grinding my gears. Not quite like the angle parking at Menards, but those two things are grinding my gears. Another thing, and this is going to lead into my Brewer talk. The I told you so people. I don't know if it brings major joy to some people. I could go right now. I could say, hey, Jordan Love is going to suck this year. Knock on wood, right? I hope not. He's just going to stink. Yeah, plain and simple. He's just going to stink. And then Jordan Love stinks, and then I can go on social media and I'd be like, I told all you guys. It's the same thing I got going on. It's the same thing with the Brewers right now, all across social media. Well, I told you guys going into the season with Oliver Dunn and Vinny Capra was not a good idea. Well, no way. Really? Going into the season with a guy who last year struggled in Oliver Dunn, and with a guy in Vinny Capra who was very unproven, just had a hot spring. Wow, really? You told me so. Really? Wow. And then when the whole pitching staff's hurt, well, I told you they should have signed more guys. Really? Oh, well, they should have. Hindsight being 2020, they should have. The I told you so people are absolutely, positively ridiculous. It's in everything, every sport, everything, and these people just exhaust me with that stuff. So, anyways, off the I told you so people, off of the DMV, off of that, everything in between. Let's talk about the Brewers. Because this is, and I saw the best, and this tweet sums up the whole thing. And Grant Bills, I talked about him earlier on the show because him and Christian Watson's dad were going at, well, not really. Grant Bills just said basically like, hey, before you start freaking out on Twitter, why don't you put the phone down and take a walk? And then he went absolutely ballistic on Grant Bills. Well, Grant Bills goes on Twitter and he says, remember torpedo bats? You could arm this clubhouse with a Lockheed Martin BGM 109 Tomahawk land attack missile, and they'd still struggle to hit a ball out of the infield. That is absolutely. I laughed. I laughed so hard when I saw that. I laughed so hard when I saw that there. It is 100% the truth right now. This team can't hit. They can't. They can't hit. They can't find a way to get on. They can't find a way to score runs. Plain and simple. Am I worried about the Brewers right now? Yes. Yes, I am. I am 1,000% worried about the Brewers. Yeah. And it's not to the fact of, and everybody's going to say, oh, well, they can't hit. And everybody's going to say, oh, well, this guy can't pitch or that ain't. Pyumps is pitching well, so nobody can yell at Yoel Pyumps right now because that run that he gave up against the Guardians there, Jackson Churio dove again in center field and missed. And the ball rolled to the wall. Am I worried about him? Yeah. I'm worried about the fundamental side of the Milwaukee Brewers. I am absolutely not even worried. Like, I'm sitting here saying to you, this team lacks the simple things of baseball. They're committing errors left and right, mental blunders. They can't even put a ball in play. They can't get a ball out of the infield. And we're sitting here and we're like, oh, they suck at this. They suck at that. Yeah, they do. They do. 100% they do. But at the same time, we're sitting here and we're screaming, hooting, and hollering about all the wrong things. We're hollering about this guy. We're hollering about that guy. Well, let's put it all together as a team. Fundamentally, they stink. Absolutely stink. Defensively, stink. Offensively, just finding ways to put the ball in play. Stink. Yes, I'm worried about this team. And I look to a guy, and this is where I'm going to look, and everybody's going to defend this guy every single day, and I am going to I'm going to be the guy to rip it. I'm going to be the guy to rip him. Because everybody else is trying to defend this guy, I'm going to rip him. There's some people that are probably ripping him, I guarantee it. But Christian Yelich, I don't care that he has 7 home runs. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care that he has 7 home runs. I don't care that he leads the team in RBIs. I don't. He has 7 home runs and 26 RBIs. Good. Great. He's batting .205. 49 strikeouts on the season. 49 strikeouts, 31 hits, 4 doubles. 7 home runs, 26 RBIs. Not saying that he's not he's hitting home runs. He's hitting bombs, right? He's hitting RBIs. Sure. Great. What I look at Christian Yelich and I say right now is, he's got to step up and be the guy, right? You paid him all this money. He's your big contract guy. It's not Contreras, not Hoskins. Definitely not Frelick. It ain't Ortiz. Who's the guy in that clubhouse who makes the money? The guy who, when you look at him, he's supposed to be the leader of this team. Christian Yelich. That's plain and simple. He is supposed to be the guy in the clubhouse who's supposed to rally this thing. Rally the troops, right? When everybody. They sit there and they say, well, this is what happens when you trade Willie Adames. This is what happens when you trade. Okay, yeah. But what were you going to do when he retired? Just say, screw it? You needed to have another guy step up and be that guy. Be the leader in that locker room. Be the voice. Be the guy to say, hey, Jackson, out in center field, figure it out. Right? This is what you're doing wrong. Let's get to the ballpark earlier. Let's do this. That's a team leader. A guy to rally the troops. Yelich ain't that guy. He's not being that guy. They need those guys to step up and be the leaders of this team. Right now, this team, I don't know how else to say it, but at times it's embarrassing baseball. It is. It's embarrassing. This is a team, and defensively, offensively, pitching at times right now, it's just lack of execution, lack of fundamentals, lack of leadership, lack of ownership, lack of everything with this ball club right now. It starts at, I'm going to do this, right? It starts at Mark Ananasio, it goes all the way down. You want to blame Mark Ananasio for the offseason? Be my guest. Right? I'm okay with that. He did not. I seriously wonder, and this is an honest question, and I don't know if anybody's got the answer. And if you got the answer for me, or if you have a comment on this, I'd love to hear it. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. Do you just believe that this was... I am under the impression, and this is where I'm at, the Brewers weren't supposed to be good last year. They weren't. That was a gap year. This season was a gap year too. It's just last year they won baseball games. They found ways to win baseball games. This year they're just not finding ways. Look at their record in games where they don't score first, right? Where the opposing team scores first. I think they are 0-13, I believe, or something like that. Is just, just a terrible number. But it's the opposite, right? You want to talk about polar opposites. Last season, they were good in close games, right? With Cardiac Crew, they were good in close games and at comebacks. This season, they're terrible. They once they're losing in a game, they suck. When they go up 4 runs, they're great. But getting 4 runs is a problem. Hitting hits right now is a problem. I don't know. At this point, there's a lot of blame that can go around. There's a lot of blame. And, Pat Murphy, you look at what he's doing here, and he's, I don't want to say benching guys, but he's pulling guys. He's holding them accountable. And you can only do that so many times, right? Because the rest of your offense is struggling. The rest of your team is struggling. So how can you keep pulling guys, and you have to pull guys to try and prove a point and to show the focus? Why aren't the guys in the clubhouse, in the locker room, and everything like that holding those guys accountable? Telling them, hey, let's figure it out. I really thought going into this year, this team had a lot of upside, and they had a lot of young guys that I was excited to see lead this team and take them to the next level. Now I'm sitting here like, okay, now it's like a prove it year for guys, and we're going to see who wants a contract and who wants to be extended. That's kind of where it's at. Kind of where it's heading. Because, and we're going to talk more Brewers when we come back here for the break. We had a break coming up here. But you look at the NL Central, everybody's like, oh, the Cubs are this darn good baseball team, and they're going to run away with this division and everything else. And they're 24-18. They're not even playing that good a ball. Cardinals, 23-19. Reds, 20-22. Brewers, 20-23. Like, there's 4.5 games. As bad as the Brewers have been, they are 4.5 games back of the Chicago Cubs. 4.5 games back of the Chicago Cubs. Let that sink in for a second. They're right there. They're it's not like they're completely out of this race. Does it feel like they're out of this race? Yeah. Right now, you want to ask me my honest opinion? And we're in an overreaction moment right now. We're going to settle it back in when we come back from the break here. And we're going to talk what this team needs to do, right? But right now, does it feel like the Brewers are farther away from the top or closer to the top? I'm going to let that ponder. I want to hear you guys' opinion on that. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe the Brewers are closer to the top, or are they closer to middle of the pack bottom? Where do you see the Brewers fitting in right now, according in the MLB, in the NL, in the MLB, wherever you want to put them, even in the NL Central? Where do you see this team? Are they middle of the pack? Where are they? I'll answer that question when we come back from the break here. We're going to have a lot more Brewer talk to get to tonight here. We got Bucks talk later on. We got NBA talk. We got all kinds of stuff with Kyle later on in the show. So make sure you're coming back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go Trades. We'll be right back here after this quick commercial break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of Brewer Talk here is brought to you by a fantastic sponsor of the show, and that is Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. They're expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations. Just call 715-267-4583. That is 715-267-4583. Call Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic. Don't trust anyone else with your physical therapy needs. So we were talking Brewers when we went to the break, and I asked the question, and I hope that you guys had an answer to that, and I hope maybe it was a good one, or maybe it was terrible. I'm expecting a lot of both. Is this Brewers team closer to the top or closer to the bottom? How big is the gap between the Brewers and the top teams, right? You look around the MLB right now, even if we were to narrow it and just look at the NL, I don't believe the Brewers are close to the Dodgers. Padres. Giants, no. Mets, no. Phillies, no. Cubs, I wouldn't say so. Not right now. Cardinals, no. Where are the Brewers? Middle of the pack at best. I saw the Yahoo. I don't even know if Yahoo Sports is. They have a Yahoo Sports, and I saw their power rankings where they had the Brewers 20th. 21st. Sorry, my mistake. They're below the Rays. Should be. Rays just beat them in a series. They're below the Rays. Just ahead of the Reds, which that can't last for that much longer because they're technically behind the Reds in the standings. And the way that this Guardian series is going, if all held true today, they probably got swept. They got Oakland. They got Baltimore's below. Baltimore has struggled. So, I mean, at least you got that. You can feel good about yourself that Baltimore is struggling too. Okay. Yay. Right now, this Brewers team has got a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And the question, I don't want to say we're getting to that point because I always say Memorial Day, right? That's a moment that you got to check in. Where are we at? I know the Brewers are still trying to get healthy, right? You still have guys out. You have Garrett Mitchell out now. You have Perkins out. It's not helping your center field situation. Maybe if those guys came back, you can move Sal to third. I don't know. Caleb Durbin. I love Caleb Durbin. I do, but he is not your everyday third baseman. He's not. He's not an everyday third baseman. He's a utility player. He's a super utility player. He's great, a utility player. He's not your everyday guy. Nope, not at all. So the question comes in then, like, what do you do? Right? Because you're in this crossroads right now where your team's struggling. You don't have, I wouldn't even say there's a lot of bats. When you look down in AAA right now, I don't think there's a lot of bats where you can just call down there and you could say, oh, send this guy up because he's hot, right? I don't think they have that in the minors right now. You have it in maybe like the AA, but you don't have it right now in the bigs. So there's a big problems right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. I see Kyle is on early tonight here. He's on a little bit earlier than what we were going. So we're not talking Bucks yet, but I'm going to bring Kyle in here. He's already on. So we're going to get him in here. And we're going to talk a little bit of Brewers with Kyle tonight here. Kyle, he's all NBA'd out right now. He's like, let's talk a little baseball because baseball is hot and heavy right now too, Kyle. This Brewers team right now, Kyle, it's a lot of problems. A lot of problems with the Brewers. And I mean, we go back to, I was talking leadership with Christian Yelich. Everybody is talking about his average and everything like that. I said, I don't care as much about that right now. I need this guy to step and be a leader in the locker room because as of right now, Jackson Churrio's making misplays. We have guys making misplays all over the field right now. There's problems all over the field defensively. Fundamentally, this team looks off. Mm-hmm. And you're getting to the point where I'm going to ask this wild question, Kyle. Where do you see the Brewers right now? I asked this question going to the break, and I want to hear your opinion. Where do you see them? Where's the gap, right? Because you got your top teams in baseball, the Dodgers, you got the Yankees, you got the Mets, Phillies, all those teams. Mm-hmm. And then you have your basement dwellers in the White Sox and the Rockies and those teams. Where do the Brewers realistically fit in? Because for me right now, I saw the Yahoo Sports rankings, power rankings. They had them at 21. I'm probably at 21 with the Milwaukee Brewers right now. I don't see them as much higher than that. Where do you got them right now? Also, how are you doing tonight? How are you doing tonight on this Plans Day?
No, I'm good. Definitely good. I mean, yeah, looking at the Brewers team, I feel like first and foremost, you look at them as kind of underperforming. But the good thing with them is, one, they're still like a third. Well, they're only like a third of the season in, and actually like a quarter of the season. Let me be more realistic there. They're hovering around 500. I think with some of these teams that have gotten off a little slow, hang around 500. Maybe you catch a little, run of like 2-3 weeks when the season gets a little hotter. Warming up some of these ballparks, the ball will start flying out of. Some of these guys might break out of their slump. So as bad as it looks right now, they're only 4.5 out in the division.
The Cubs are sucking. As much as people want to tell me that the Cubs are like this juggernaut team and they're going to run away with it, I haven't seen it.
They're keeping everybody in it.
Yep.
If you're a Brewers fan, that's kind of what you're hoping for. Like, you're not playing your best baseball, and the division isn't running away from you. That's
I'm going to
be optimistic.
I'm going to throw a crazy hypothetical at you because I got you on. I'm going to throw a crazy hypothetical because I saw a lot of experts. They're like, oh, the Brewers should trade Freddie Peralta. And Hoskins is on that option year this year. So he's probably going to be on that chopping block in some way, shape, or form if the Brewers do look to trade. The Red Sox are having an issue right now. Mm-hmm. Devers does not want to play first base. The Red Sox need a first baseman. Hoskins is hitting the ball pretty well. I mean, I think Devers, he's got a pretty big deal right now, so I don't know if the Brewers would be able to even absorb that contract. What kind of contract is he on right now? Goodness. It's got to be loaded up, right? $313 million guaranteed. Holy crap. Brewers probably can't afford that, but regardless. Mm-hmm. Could you see, okay, so we're not going to say probably Devers, but could you see the Brewers maybe striking a deal with your Red Sox? Maybe a Hoskins for prospects out there from the Red Sox. I mean, could you see a deal like for that for the Red Sox right now?
I could. The only reason why I might say not is because what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks? The Red Sox are going to continue to talk to Devers to at least get him to try to play first. The same way he said he wasn't coming off a third. He came off a third, became the DH. I think for Devers, he's finally becoming comfortable being a DH, and now they're asking him to go play first. And then let's say he goes and plays first, they go get somebody, and then they move him off of there. He just doesn't want to move around anymore. I get that. I kind of think for first base, they're more willing to either get some guy off the street. I know people are talking about like Anthony Rizzo, who's going to probably give you nothing with a bat, but at least he'll field the position, and that's what they want. Or if they're going to strike a deal with the Brewers, I feel like they would try to get Peralta. Because the pitching staff, when you have Tanner Houck, who's completely looked horrible this season, Buehler is dealing with an injury. You have Crochet, who's pitching really well. Bayo is just coming back from an injury. He's kind of up and down. He's had a couple of good starts and then have a couple of bad starts. You have Giolito, who kind of the same thing. First start looked really good. Second one, not so much. Third one looked pretty good. I think there's so many question marks there that if they were to contact the Brewers, it'd be, can we get Peralta from you?
I wouldn't hate it. I would hate it. I don't want to see Freddie go. That's the thing. I don't want to see Freddie go. But I think there does come a point in this season where, and I just talked about before, I said, this Brewers, it almost feels like last season for the Brewers was supposed to be a transition year, a gap year, and they won games. They found ways to win, and it just happened. This season feels like the same thing, except for now they're losing. Now they're finding ways to lose because you didn't make moves in the offseason, right? Zero. Mark Ananasio wasn't making moves. He got Jose Quintana. Great. Like, that was a cheap deal. Outside of that, didn't do nothing. Hoskins came back, and that was his player option. Outside of that, nothing done by the Brewers, except for letting guys go or trading guys away, right? Devin Williams out the door. And the Devin Williams trade, have you really won that? I don't know. You got Caleb Durbin. He's a super utility. I hope he's going to be good. And then you got Nestor Cortez. And, he got lit up by the Yankees, so that was fun. But, I mean, you did get a guy, and this is a guy you know a little bit about, Bobby Dolbach, is currently with the Brewers. Hasn't really stuck ever, right? He hasn't really stuck with any ball club for long. He's been bounced around. He was a pretty good prospect at one point, but just hasn't really transpired. So, Bobby, does he play third base at all? Does he have a little bit of third base in him?
Yes, he can play both corner positions.
There you go. So I really would not hate, because he's got a little bit of pop in that bat. Maybe playing in a hitter-friendly ballpark like American Family Field, that strikes him. You never know. You can't expect Caleb Durbin to play third base consistently for you. He doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have that defensive prowess in him. He can play second, but he doesn't have that arm over there. I think if you get Terang, if you figure out his shoulder, he can play shortstop. Joey Ortiz can go to the bench because that's where he needs to go, or he needs to go down to AAA, because right now, I love Joey Ortiz. I want to make that known to people. Like, I don't hate the guy. He stinks right now. He absolutely stinks. There is no ifs, ands, ways about it right now. Joey Ortiz is about as I don't even know what the word to even say, but he's batting 173. That stinks.
Yeah.
You can't have 173. Your left side of the infield right now, between Caleb Durbin and him. Caleb Durbin's batting a whopping 194, and Joey Ortiz is batting 173. Your left side of the infield sucks. It's plain and simple. They suck. Willie Adames at least gave you bombs. This ain't nothing. This is terrible. And then you add on top of that Christian Yelich batting 205, and then you add on top of that William Contreras and his fractured finger batting 224 for you. And I mean, we could go down the laundry list of guys right now who are struggling mightily, and you put that all together, and what do you get? Crap. That's all it is. You get what you get right now. You get 0 runs. Quinn Priester, everybody wants to shoot on that guy, and that whole trade, he pitched a gem against the Guardians. 2 runs. They gave up 2 runs in total in that entire game. One of them was unearned because that was the craptastic play by Jackson Chourio out in center field. Outside of that, Quinn Priester gave up 1 run. And you lost. Yeah. You lost that game. Oh, you can say, the Guardians pitched well. Sure. But your entire offense outside, Jackson Chourio went 2 for 4, and Terang had a hit. Outside of that, it was an 0 for day for the rest of them. You want to talk about how to get yourself out of a slump, Christian Yelich? Maybe don't strike out 3 times and try to contribute to the ball club here. Maybe. Just maybe. Jackson Chourio doubled to lead off an inning, and it was boom, 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 right down the line, out. Yeah. And here we are, staring in the face of a 20-23 record, another loss to the Guardians, another series loss. Oh, well, we can salvage game 3 of the series. Great. That makes me feel better. That absolutely makes me feel better. So a lot of Brewer fans, as Kyle said, and Kyle kind of made me feel better there, we're not even a quarter of the way through, right? The NL Central stinks. Cubs, not playing great. Cardinals are in second place. That tells you how bad the NL Central is right now. The Reds are in third and the Brewers are in fourth. They're 4.5 games back. They're not out of it by any means. Now, does it look pretty? No. If it were up to me, would we make some moves and trade some guys away? Yes. Yeah. Because as of right now, and this is where I'm at, I feel like the Brewers are farther away from being a contender as they are from being a pretender. And as much as we love to play with the term, let's take bites at the apple, right? As many bites as the apple as we can, I don't care anymore. I'm out on that. If this is a transition year, if that's what this is meant to be, let's make it. Let's make it a transition year. Let's trade some pieces. Not anything stupid. Sal Frelick, stay. Garrett Mitchell, stay. Everybody like that, stay. Let's test the talent. Let's see what you got with the young guys, right? If they can take you to distance, sure. That's fine, right? You're not going to move on to Brandon Woodruff. Tobias Myers is going to stay. You're going to keep all the young guys. You're going to keep most of the bullpen arms. But Rhys Hoskins, I would explore it. I would explore moving on from these guys. Why? Build for the guys coming up, because you do have guys coming up through the minor league system right now where you're 1 to 2 years away from those guys being at the big league level, and you hope, fingers crossed, right? They can be something for you. So that's what we're waiting on. So in my personal opinion, I would, if somebody calls, if the Red Sox call and they say, hey, what do you want for Freddie? I'm asking for a high price. I'm asking for, right now, before Memorial Day, I'm asking for a haul for Freddie, because Freddie's pitched like an ace. So I'm asking for a haul. If the Red Sox are willing to give up a haul for Freddie, some top prospects or whatever, I'm sorry, Freddie. I love you. Bye-bye. Yeah. Rhys Hoskins, if some team calls about Rhys Hoskins, they say, hey, you want this and this for him? All right. See you later. I think that's my mindset right now. I don't want to give up on the season. I hate being the guy, because I don't give up on seasons, and I'm not. But I'm also at this point where, do the Brewers actually realistically have enough to beat the Dodgers, to beat the Mets, to beat the Phillies? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I don't think they have enough. I don't think their bullpen's enough. I don't think their pitching's been enough. They've been good. The pitching hasn't been terrible. The offense is the problem. The pitching's not terrible, but I just don't think the pitching's good enough to compensate for 0 runs. So what do you do with that at this point? So, yeah. Like Kyle said, and maybe it's an overreaction Wednesday here. Maybe that's what it is. Let's all just take a breath, right? Relax. Maybe it'll be all right. Maybe next week we're coming back. We're talking good things with the Brewers. Or maybe we come back next week and, we're talking about 2 series losses and I'm blowing up at Kyle about this and that and everything between. Who knows? We'll see. But Kyle says wait until Memorial Day. We'll wait until Memorial Day. So we got Kyle on already. We're going to come back from the break here. We got Bucks talk. I want to talk some Bucks. I want to talk some NBA. We got all kinds of stuff to get into yet here tonight. So make sure you're coming back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show, this Bucks Talk, is brought to you by a fantastic sponsor of the show, and that is Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com. We're just getting into the spring events. We're going to have summer, fall. It is going to be a great summer down there at the track, so make sure you are getting down there with the family and enjoying some great summer days and nights down at the track there. So as always, Kyle comes on, and Kyle is always a part of the Mellow Yellow Minute. So if you're new to the show, haven't heard the show before, we always have this segment. We do trivia in honor of my grandpa who passed away. We always do trivia here on the show. And if you have your favorite beverage, his was Mellow Yellow. I got Diet Mountain Dew. I usually have a Mellow Yellow. I'm out of Mellow Yellow tonight. I'm sorry, but I got a Diet Mountain Dew here, so I'm going to crack it here. I'm going to crack it. Make sure you're cracking your favorite beverage out there. And Kyle, tonight, the Mellow Yellow Minute. What are Trage's favorite teams outside of Wisconsin sports teams? So Kyle, I gave him I didn't give him the teams. I gave him hints. I said I got an NFL team on there, I got a college team, and I got an MLB team. Kyle, what do you got for me? What is one of Trage's favorite team outside of Wisconsin?
I think I'm going to attack the MLB first.
Okay.
I have 2 teams in mind. So I will tell you, I'm thinking Royals or Athletics.
I don't hate either one of those teams, but it is in the Royals division.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so now you're looking at, let's see, Tigers, White Sox, Royals, Guardians, Twins.
It can't be the Twins.
Right. So as soon as you said it was in the division, I thought Tigers.
Tigers. Yep. I've just always had a thing for I don't hate the Tigers. Like, the Tigers don't do anything to me. And I loved when it was the Bash Bros with Miggy and Prince Fielder, because I never hated Prince Fielder. So that was awesome. So, yes, the Tigers are my MLB team outside of Wisconsin. What do you got for me? You want NFL or college? What do you got?
Let's go NFL.
NFL. Here we go.
So NFL, I'm going to think. Let me try to think of a division. I don't think it's going to be in the East.
Go for the South. Give me the South.
Yes, I was about to say, I don't think it's the West. So I was thinking either North or the South. So South, I'm going to say, so we've got Jags, Texans, Titans, Colts.
There's only one team in there that anybody could realistically like.
I mean, for me, I'd probably say the Titans.
Not the Titans.
So then my second choice was probably the Jags.
No. Come
really?
on now.
Wait. So then, okay. I mean, I'm assuming it's not the Colts. It's got to be the Texans.
Houston Texans. J.J. Watt came from Wisconsin, went down there. I didn't like
should have been
for
the
the
obvious
short
link.
time in my youth. I disliked the Packers because my uncle disliked the Packers because of Brett Favre and the Aaron Rodgers thing and everything else. And Brett Favre was, so I ended up with J.J. Watt like on a plane going down to Houston. And then I was a Texans fan for a little while. And I've just always had a nice little thing for the Texans. Packer fan, but kind of a thing for the Texans down there.
I respect that.
Now, I gave Kyle a hint. I said, if you get the first letter of one of these, you have the first letter of the rest of them. So Kyle's got the college
the
team.
One easier. Yeah.
It is an SEC team.
So I'm thinking MLB was the Tigers. I'm thinking SEC, Auburn Tigers.
No, come on now. Okay, new SEC. New SEC.
Okay, new SEC. Oh. Texas.
Bam.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've just, ever since I was little, I just had a thing for Texas. Texans, Texas. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I don't know.
I always like the helmets. The long
one. Yeah, see, the helmets are cool. The Texans got a cool helmet too. It's like, it's just cool. So I'm all in for it. Right now, what's not cool, Kyle, what's not cool is all these people around social media telling me that Giannis is like, I'm willing to explore options elsewhere. And it's like every time I go to Quick Trip in the morning and I look at the soda section and I'm like, I'm going to explore another option today. And then I get a Diet Mountain Dew. It's like, I'm going to get the same thing. I just exploring options. Of course, he's like, yeah, if the Bucks trade me, because what would you be if the Bucks did decide to move you? And then you're like, oh, I only play if I play in Milwaukee. And then all of a sudden the Bucks are like, oh, we're going to send you to LA. Oh, okay. Now I got to pretend like I didn't just say that I don't want to go to LA. So of course you're going to say you're okay with exploring other options. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't at all mean anything. You're always exploring options. You always want what's best for you. But Kyle, I got to be honest with you. If I'm the Bucks, and this is just my opinion, and people can be hateful at it and everything, but if I'm the Bucks, I'm like, call me. I'm not calling you. I'm not calling Nico down there in Dallas. I'm not calling any of these guys, right? But if Nico calls me and says, hey, I got the first overall pick in this year's draft, how you feeling? And, I mean, you're like, okay, I'll listen. I'm not going to make the move, but I'm going to listen. I'm going to see what you got to offer. If you give me 7 years of first-round picks plus some players, I mean, well, that's a lot of talent. That's a lot of talent. So I got a question off this, but I want to get your take on that first one. I mean, you're listening to offers, right? You're at least sitting there on the phone. You're like, yeah, I'll listen to you. But in all reality, you're probably not making this move, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're not doing your job if you're not listening. And I agree with you. Like Giannis saying he's open to options just means if the Bucks came to him and said, look, we're going to move you here, he'd be like, he would think about it. Dallas has come out and said they're keeping the pick. They're taking Cooper Flag. Then that's well within their prerogative. I think the team to watch, if they were to get if they go in the office tomorrow and they see a San Antonio area code, I think they entertain it because San Antonio has this number 2 pick. Obviously not Cooper Flag, but you could get yourself a really good prospect at number 2. They have a lot of young pieces. You could probably get a couple. And they also have a lot of future picks. So if you're going to move Giannis, you're telling Bucks fans, we're tearing it down. If you're going to tear it down the right way. A lot of teams, when they get in trouble, they try to play both sides of the fence. You can't do that in the NBA. You either need to be, really good, like top 4 in your conference, or you need to be outside the play-in. Even though Mavericks are a play-in team that won the lottery, but that's not necessarily how it normally goes. So I think Giannis is putting pressure on the front office to do something.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's for him delivering them a title. He should want them to want to be back at that level. And they have to decide, can they do that with Giannis or not? If they can't, call Oklahoma City, call San Antonio. Teams with young players and a bunch of picks.
Yep. No, I agree. And the thing, and this is going to be my next point, and this is where I'm going to say, why would you trade Giannis, right? The Celtics are going to be in this weird spot next year where they're going to have to move on from some guys. And they're kind of going to not strip it down completely, but they're going to strip it down, right? So who realistically is still there in the East, right? The Cavs will probably still have, cast of characters. The Pacers, as we saw last night there, the Pacers take down the Cavs. So we see the Pacers, how far are the Bucks off? They put up 1 win against the Cavs, right? Or against the Pacers. How far are they off? Because they put up just as good of a fight as the Cavs did. So how far is this Bucks team off, really? But, I look at the East, and you look, okay, the Knicks, right? The Knicks are going to be fine. They're going to have money to spend. They're going to get guys, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The Cavs are going to be around. Celtics, Bucks, 76ers, the Pistons, those teams they're like there. They're not true contenders, but they're there. How far, honestly, and realistically, how far are the Bucks off? They're not really that far off are they far off of the top in the NBA? Yes, because you look at the West and you're like, okay, Nuggets, OKC, you got all these teams. But the Eastern Conference, once the Celtics kind of got to tear it down, you're going to have this running lane where if you add guys, because we talked about you're going to have, sign and trade guys, you're going to have about 30 mil to 40 mil somewhere in there to spend on sign and trade guys. So you're going to have money to move around, I guess, right? How far are you realistically off? Kyle, at this point, you're probably going to be, I don't want to say they're going to be even Steven with the Celtics, but both having to strip it down, both losing players, both having, kind of the star power gone. They're going to be right there in that 3 to probably 6 range of teams again, where they sat this year, but with less money on the books. Look, Brook Lopez is gone. He's good. I don't think they're going to bring him back. And if they do, it's going to be way less of a contract to deal with. So if you do bring him back, whatever, right? You're going to don't have to deal with Taurean Prince. You maybe get Sims back. You maybe get Trent, but you're going to have less money on the books. You're going to be able to build for that future. Dame hopefully comes back healthy. And if he comes back, I feel like he's going to have that kind of vengeance to him, right? And then you got Giannis back, who's feeling it in that year. You have another year of AJ Green and those guys. Maybe you get Kevin Porter back. But I like where this team is at, where they're 3rd to 5th to 6th again. They're not. Why tear it down when you're technically still there, right? Because I feel like once the Giannis days are over, it's over. It's like start over, ground up, baby. Let's rebuild, right? So as of right now, why not maximize the years as much as not go overboard, right? Because you try that and you fail. But you went into an offseason like this once before the 2020 season, and you ended up walking away with the championship. Maybe you could pull off some crazy stuff like that. I'm not saying it's going to happen like that again, but maybe you pull off some crazy stuff like that. We've seen crazier stuff happen. So Kyle, where are you at right now? Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, they're there with the 3-6 right now in the East just because the rest of these teams have to throw it down too.
Yeah, and like you said, that's where the Bucks are in a weird spot where they kind of can play this one of two ways. Like they could convince themselves that they brought back most of this year's team with a couple of tweaks here or there. They could be better off. They could also look at it as, how close were we really this year? Maybe we've been fooling ourselves, and we're actually further away than we thought. Because, like I said, the Knicks seem like they will be kind of in the conversation. I still have some questions about the Knicks, whether or not they can actually win a title. I think the Knicks are kind of in a weird spot too. I know you mentioned the Cavs. I think the Cavs have serious questions to ask themselves. I don't think Donovan Mitchell can be your number one and win a title. But unfortunately, the Cavs have kind of gone down the road with him that they're probably just going to run back the same team. They'll have a really good regular season, and they'll probably run into the same problems in the playoffs that they have this year.
Yep.
The Celtics they'll change what they look like. They're not tearing it down because of the second apron, they can get out of that just by moving Drew Holiday. I think if they do more than that, it'll probably be Porzingis along with him. But I think the core of that team, Tatum obviously is going to miss next season with the injury. Brown, like Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, guys like that will be around. Horford, you have to see if he retires or not. But I think with Brad Stevens and his ability to roster build, if they lost all three of them, Holiday, Porzingis, and Horford, you feel like they'll make way with it. They have Bailey Shireman, who they'll open up minutes for. I like him. But, yeah, after that, you're like, do you trust in the Pistons taking a leap next year? Do you trust this being more than a fluke for the Pacers? It would be back-to-back seasons of them possibly being in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, yeah, you kind of have to put them in that group of teams the Bucks have to monitor for where they are. Once you get past that, it's like the Heat are going to fall off. The Hawks still don't scare you. The Raptors aren't ready. So the Bucks should be a top 6 team no matter what they do next season.
Yep.
It's can they make that one move to take them from 6 to maybe 4? That's what they're looking at.
I'd take Drew Holiday back. That'd be fun. Get the band back together. I don't know. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to see. Could you pair a guy like Drew Holiday with Damian Lillard? Oh, maybe have that double guard tandem in the backcourt. I wouldn't hate that. It'd be like a Dame and a CJ McCollum, except for not as good of a shooter as CJ McCollum was. More of a defender. He could compensate for Dame's lack of defense.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe. I don't know. Just speculating.
Only problem would be it didn't work in Portland. I have this thing about smaller guards, how they really work once you get into postseason. Although you're not asking Holiday to be a scorer. Like
plus,
Portland,
that guy can guard just about anybody. He's
right.
got some.
That's
like
where that's where he does work. He's one of those guards who could guard somebody in the post, and you don't need a double team because he's strong enough to do that. So that's a little bit different. Like McCollum wasn't that, and they needed Lillard and McCollum to be their 2 best players. You're not asking Holiday to be one of your best players. You just need him to fill a role. I think if Holiday is available, Milwaukee should try to figure out a way to get him. I don't know what they would offer, but
I don't know if there's bad blood there. I don't know. It would be a question for Drew, I guess. It'd be a question for him as if there's bad blood. I don't know. I wouldn't want to go play for Doc right now, and Giannis loves Doc, so I feel like we're going to be stuck with Doc again because Giannis won't get rid of Doc. So at this point, Buck fans, if we want to get rid of Doc, we got to get rid of Giannis at the same time. So until that happens, it's just going to be more of the same from what we've seen. So unless if Horst just loads up the Bucks like the Celtics were when he took them to the finals, then we'd be fine, right? That wasn't that like Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Garnett, Rondo, who couldn't have won a championship with that? You and me could have walked out there and coached that team to a championship. So anyways, we got a little bit more to wrap us up here. We're going to quiz Kyle on some playoffs. So we're going to talk a little bit more NBA playoffs when we come back here. So we got a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap up the show for the day. So we'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday as we wrap it up here for the day. And if you missed any portion of the show today, make sure you check us out next day, tomorrow. The podcast will be available. This show, podcast platforms all over YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, wherever you get podcasts, you can find the show. If you want to find us across social media, make sure you do it. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you get, basically all social media platforms there. Just search Wisco Sports on the Go with Trage. Any sort of combination there, you'll find us out there. You can also text into the show, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. So we got we got to wrap it up real fast here. So we're going to go, Kyle, you got to hit it fast. NBA playoffs, reactions. What are we seeing so far? Who do we like? Do you think the Celtics can force Game 6? Do you think so? Or do you think now that Tatum's out, this is kind of the Knicks to walk away with? They will find a way to win it ultimately. What do you got for me?
The Celtics will have to ride the emotions. Game 5 to win that one. Knicks will have to close it in 6. If it goes to 7, the Celtics will win that series. I truly believe, even minus Tatum. The Pacers have exposed the Cavs for a great regular season, but you saw the flaws in their team. Jarrett Allen is a matchup nightmare when you're dealing with Miles Turner and top-end guys who live on the perimeter. Donovan Mitchell, as I spoke about a little earlier, he can't be your best player if you want to win in the playoffs because defensively he struggles on that end of the floor. So if he's not scoring like 30, 40 on offense for you, he's almost a negative out there. So I think the Cavs will have some reshaping that they'll have to do to their roster. I think the Pacers are proven to a lot of people that they might be better than we all thought. And it's okay to accept that. Out west, I feel like you're getting almost a change of the guard moment where the young guys like the Wolves with Anthony Edwards are pulling through. Shea and the young guys in Oklahoma City probably pull through. Denver, for all the excitement they had winning the title a couple of years ago, they almost seem like old news because they've let too many guys go from that rotation, and they're depleted at this point. Joker has to be Superman every night for them to win. The Warriors, I feel like this is kind of the last stand for them. It's unfortunate that Steph Curry got hurt, but Steph Curry was carrying so much of the offensive load because Draymond Green is not an offensive player. This was the worry when they got Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is like, when he wants to, he can give you something offensively, but like the game they just had, he pretty much kind of quit on that game. He only took 9 shots with Steph Curry being out. That's a problem. And if the Warriors don't make it to the finals, they have real questions to ask about their team, and you got to wonder, how much longer do you do the Curry, Draymond? And I guess you have to throw Butler into that at this point. What's really going to change with that next season unless Curry's healthy? And I think we're at a point where we might – I keep leaning towards the Wolves might come out of the West. It seems like that kind of year in the NBA. And I actually think the Pacers might come out of the East.
The Wolves just don't seem like they're that good. So it hurts to see that might be the team to come out of there. But I would agree. The Warriors, I always think of the James Wiseman pick, and that was their downfall. Right when they picked James Wiseman, it went downhill from there because they were like, this is our big guy. He can do it all. And then it was, nope, he can't do it all. So, this NBA playoffs, it's exciting, but we'll see what happens here. We were hoping the Pacers would lose. They didn't. So, whatever here. So, Brewers, they got the Twins this weekend. Hopefully, we're talking about a series win against the Twins coming back here next week. So the Brewers, that'll be first pitch coming up on Friday. There will be 7:10. They got an off day coming up tomorrow after this Guardians series. So, Brewer fans, let's take a breath. It's going to be okay. Packer fans, we're excited for the season here. Buck fans, we're just waiting for Giannis to stop shopping elsewhere and start to build this team up here. So that's where we're kind of at right now here. So thank you to Kyle, as always, for coming on here. You can find him chopping at the bit across all social media platforms. Check out his podcast. They're always great stuff. So with that, that's about all we got. that's about all I got for tonight. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, the rest of your week. We'll catch you guys back here Wednesday. But until then, see ya.